Hey YouTube, Parson Rick here. Smoking a excuse me, smoking a Savinelli that I won from the Country Squire blog. They did a contest a while ago ish. In it, I'm smoking some Boswell's Railroad Station. I've been smoking this pretty regularly. Um, in fact, I don't think I've smoked anything else for a week or so. Really liking it, and you know what? It smokes the best it's tasted is in this pipe. It is also the only straight pipe I have. So, sitting out here on my front porch. Not really a porch, just a covered area out of the rain, I guess. But yeah, I like this railroad station. I believe I like it better than Northwoods, and I like Northwoods. So it's not saying one's bad and another's better. It's just I like this one. I think it is mild, and you know I'm still just new at this. So what I wanted to talk about is the Duke of Wails is having his 100 sub contest, and so I wanted to do a VR for him. He was asking for stories about other hobbies that we have besides pipe smoking. And I know some people object to calling pipe smoking a hobby, but for me, that's all it is. You know. And so hobbies and things we do. You know, I'm an old guy, and I'm a busted up old guy. So there are way more things I used to do than I currently do. And you may not know it to look at my portly self, but I used to be an avid cyclist. Grew up, way out in the country, so if we wanted to go anywhere, it was by bicycle. And one of my first, well, probably my first purchase was a motorcycle. When I was a kid, I was probably like 10. But the first thing I spent any real money on was a very nice bicycle. From Germany called a Welker Sprint, and I rode the tar out of it. Lived 5 miles uphill both ways in the snow from school, and I'd ride to school and back. But anyway, I really got into cycling when I was in the Air Force, and I was down in Southern California at Castle Air Force Base, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was in Merced, California, between Fresno and Modesto. And lots of guys down there rode. It was very competitive. There were guys that rode in the Race Across America and lots of local racing teams, and I got really sucked into it. When my younger brother passed away, he bequeathed me his Camaro. What does this have to do with cycling, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. That Camaro was putting a poor airman into the poor house. Just nickel and diming me. Kind of like my new truck. It's kind of nickel and diming me to death. But the new truck I can afford better. But anyway, and so I ended up selling the Camaro. And with half of the money from the Camaro, I bought a really good bike. It was a Stephen, I'm a wrench. You might appreciate this, you might not. It was a Torpedo, which is an Italian bike. and I don't even think they're in business anymore, of course. Um, excuse me. And the difference between it and the bikes I'd had before was like going from square wheels to round wheels. It was awesome, and I started riding with a club down there. And the way you started riding with the club is if you could keep up, you were in the club. And so if you couldn't ride 25 miles an hour indefinitely, you didn't ride with the club. And it took me a while. They lost me more than once when I first started. But for the majority of the time I was in the Air Force, I rode a lot. 75 miles coming home from work wasn't really anything. And I was, of course, in tremendous physical condition at that time. And of course, my first non motorcycle major accident was on a bicycle. I had a dog take me out at 25 miles an hour. But went on lots of long rides, and so I'll get. And then when I came back, when I got out of the service, I came back up here to Oregon, which is not. There's a lot of cycling. We were a big cycling mecca here in Eugene. Not so much anymore. We used to have a lot of manufacturers. In fact, at the opening of my cul-de-sac was a guy who was world famous for painting and working on and adapting bicycles. He was a racer. His name was Paul something. I don't remember what it is now. It's been 20 years. And I was one of the founding members of our local Greater Eugene area riders bicycle club, and led rides every weekend. But eventually, I just had to work too much, and I couldn't ride as much as I used to. But we could do lots of charity rides and long rides. And I remember this one ride that we were on. It was called the MS 150, and it was a 150-mile ride over 2 days in support of multiple sclerosis research. So the first day was 75 miles up to a college campus, which later I ended up graduating from that campus as an adult, Linfield College up in McMinnville. And we rode up there and stayed the night at the college in the dorms and then rode back the next day. Well, it's 75 miles up there. Well, I got in with a group, and we were riding so fast that even though I had two flat tires and had to take care of them, we were at the last three stops before there was anybody to man the stops, and we got to the college before there was anybody set up to receive us. I was in with a couple of tandems, and we were averaging almost 40 miles an hour. We were just flying, and that was a real good ride for a worthy cause, of course. La la la. Well, I got up there, and we checked in. There wasn't anything to do yet because they weren't expecting anybody for like 2 hours. And they had groups that came in from Salem and came down from Portland, and us up from Eugene, and then everybody met in the middle. Well, so we checked in, and then we went riding. I mean, what else you gotta do? And I came back, and they'd assigned me a roommate. This guy he was wearing jeans, not lycra. He was wearing jeans flat on his face on the bed with his bike I'm showing you here with my hand, with his bike at the base of the bed, and it was a Schwinn Varsity. It was like weighed 3 times what my bike weighed. And he was laying face down. And I greeted him, and all he said was, "They said I could do it." So I went to dinner, and I went to the entertainment and everything else. Came back to go to bed. He was still face down wearing his jeans on the bed. I got up the next morning. He was still face down wearing his jeans on the bed. He hadn't moved all night. He didn't get up and go to the bathroom or nothing. He was just flat out. And I always thought that was a guy who let people talk him into doing stuff. I remember when I was a kid, Schwinn Varsities, they were the best. But everything got better, faster, lighter. It's crazy. And we ended up. I still have that Torpedo, and I still have my tandem. I have a Santana Elan, and we used to ride a lot. It was actually my family and I were in the news down here. Uh, One of the TV stations came out and filmed us. We were riding the tandem. I had Me and the wife were on the tandem. Our youngest daughter was in the baby carrier on the back, and then we had two kids in the burly trailer behind. I used to just live on the bicycle. I had quads the size of a mountain. But I'm all busted up now. Broken pelvis. I don't think I can even sit on my seat. But I have mountain bikes and all that stuff. Oregon's a great place for it. So uh, there's a story about one of my former hobbies. I still have all my bikes in the shed out there rusting. But someday I'll be back in shape and do it. So congrats on your subs. God bless you. Parson Rick out.